standard equipment in the kitchen in 5 years from now, we'll see how this global change goes and plays out.
That's right.
Because it is such a socio... it is. I mean, the information is spreading all over the world. We talked to Miguel in Argentina, and I'm hearing all kinds of information coming out of China and stuff. And so everybody knows, we're having a weird thing happen globally, information-wise and spiritually. I mean, some people might not call it that, but I think that's what's going on.
Yeah.
We're feeling actually, that's what some people have called it too, the new age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
We're feeling our connection.
We took the Mayan spaceship into the age of Aquarius.
Yeah. I feel it. I can feel it.
Somebody was alluding to the fact that maybe using cannabis a lot could in effect stimulate the pineal gland like DMT, not in the extreme way, but in a kind of a slower mode.
Well, I read something earlier about priests like back in the day, like when they were using the Jewish term cannabosum, which is in the Bible numerous times, but it was an anointing oil that they had that they used to
Okay, guys, we got 10 seconds before we go back on.
To see Yahweh and talk to fucking God.
Sounds like a plan. Let's fry balls.
Yahweh.
And we're back with more Hollywood Hemptress Hour. Thank you for being here. No, thank you. I guess I should say that better. Welcome back. Take 2. Welcome back to Hollywood Hemptress Hour. We're the only pro-cannabis network on iHeartRadio, and we're fucking proud of it. All right, so I'm with Keith Belisle, Jason America, Chris Matthews, and Shane Yoakum, and we're just having a great time talking about seeds and government and how the right now on the break we were just talking about how the cannabis plant possibly allows a little bit of DMT at a time that actually opens up the pineal gland into a higher awareness, and how we are all, there's an awakening happening globally, and hemp has a lot to do with it, marijuana, and the possibility of healing ourselves in a different way. So isn't that kind of what we were talking about on the break?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it was like to allude to one of my prior Facebook posts. It just is that. But I think it was like 2 weeks ago we were talking about it, and I made a post about how interesting is it that we lead into this new age of Aquarius, and peace and enlightenment, and cannabis is and hemp are leading the way. That's our yellow brick road is paved green.
It sure is. Sure is.
I agree.
Me too.
I grew up in Kansas. I don't acknowledge statements from the Wizard of Oz.
Statements growing up.
Actually, I have relatives. I mean, my relatives moved from Kansas to California, and I've gone to I have a connection to Kansas myself, in an odd way.
My family migrated across the Great Plains via Mayflower to the Mayflower.
Really?
Mayflower Van Lines. It's a moving company, actually. What do you think I was talking about? Assholes with belt buckle hats?
Yes, they did. I'm like, wow, his ancestors came from the Mayflower. And I know him. What?
I don't think I had any relatives in the States until after, numerous years after 1900. like we all came over after like potatoes and like wars and I'm like I'm a Euro mutt, but all the European like countries that are in my DNA were all people that were escaping other shit.
Yeah, I think I'm one of those too, people, but just kind of makes kind of interesting. Um, well, you know what? I do have a comedy clip. I'm gonna change pace here for a moment. We do have a comedy clip. We had James Hennigan was on the show last Friday, and he was extremely funny. And I thought I'd play a little bit of his comedy again tonight. And so I'd like to, hey, it's James Hennigan. Here we go.
Woo! Woo!
Woo!
James.
James!
Who didn't say woo? Whoa!
My word, bro. Sorry.
Are you there? Are you there, Sashi? Maybe we're not gonna hear James Hennigan. All right.
You
I think. Can you do Hershey Highway again, Keith? No.
I sense a theme here, but really it just like I think
You're gonna have to start paying a royalty here.
I think I've read your ads on the
it's actually.
Keith, I've read your ads on the Craigslist personals, I think.
Okay, well, I guess we'll try James Hennigan a little bit later.
Cool.
Want to talk about extracts?
Yes, let's talk about extracts.
What are the different extracts?
So, one thing that a lot of camps are splitting over is butane or not butane. And before I ever made my first butane extraction, I read all about it because it's freaking me the fuck out. And Shane was the one who was like, dude, you gotta try this. He had his magic pen. I thought it was awesome. So I went and I read up on it, and it turns out that there's butane in almost all kinds of, pre-packaged stuff or things that, you ingest on a daily basis and don't even know it. But it turns out it's actually extremely harmless, and it's only, like, the things that I read was that it was only harmful when ingested in massive quantities, which would be, like, cases and cases of it, and, like, you'd have to be a crazy huffer. But, like, even then, like, it's like, it didn't seem like there was any kind of permanent damage or whatever, but, so either way, there's a lot of camps split on butane or not butane.
I would have to say that non-purged, if you have butane that's not purged well enough, like if it's raw, then that's going to be pretty toxic too. It's going to have much higher, levels and stuff that's purging you go buy at the shops.
I did see
If you have a compromised immune system already, I mean, I don't think you want to be.
Yeah, anybody on chemotherapy, like if you're going through chemo, you shouldn't be introducing any other chemicals to your body technically,
Right.
because your body's trying to fight off the chemo drugs. And the minute that you put the butane in there, your body's like, whoa, wait a minute, and it's, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I saw YouTube the other day that, because this debate is interesting as hell to me, and it's really split a lot of camps. Not like, violent splits, but like some people aren't touching it, and others are like stabbing each other in the neck over it.
Yeah.
That's not true. I'm kidding.
It's an item of contention for some people.
But
Nancy Grace tell you that?
I found a video of a guy who is like, and he was in Washington. He's in one of the labs up there, and he's like, he explains, at the beginning, he's like, look, he's like, this is how I feel about it, blah blah blah. It's like I like better purged butane or whatever, but just to prove a point, he has some freshly pulled BHO and it's not purged yet. And he does a big old fat dab of it, and he's like, we've tested this in our lab. Like, what I'm doing right now has less butane in it than when, you light up a bowl with your fucking lighter, and that's shitty butane.
Yeah.
So, and when you purge it, you really do knock out a good 99% of that shit, right?
Did he tell you about the headache that he got from smoking the nuts?
he was like, look,
migraine.
It's like, I don't do this, but just, prove a point. Like, butane's pretty fucking harmless. But yeah, like I guess I've heard complaints about people saying like you know well, of course there's the asthmatic people don't seem to like nails doing dabs.
That's understandable.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I'm not a dabber.
So we move on from the BHO, which we do kind of leave unsettled because none of us are actually pure scientists, and I don't think any of us are saying like, yes, butane is super awesome, but I do like doing dabs. Anyway, the future seems to be CO2.
Sure.
And tell me about CO2.
CO2. But going back to, hold on, for BHO though, I mean, there are different types of BHO, you know? There's like the NBHO, which is pre-bottled, you know, big, large tanks that you go buy at the gas facility, you know, and that's a little bit different than the cans. You have also this other stuff, I believe it's called ZHO, which claims to be like much safer. But I've also been reading a lot of stuff about how that stuff has like toxic chemicals in it as well.
You know, and extracts use a lot of things. They use acetones and other things like that. Acetones are used to make food extracts. So, you know, and I look at acetone and think, yeah, I don't want that in my food, but...
Well, you know, you make a good point. Like, I talked to my sister about this, too, because, I mean, I brag about her enough, but she's a, you know, PhD geneticist, you know, but, and she, you know, I told her, you know, I'm really leaning towards the alcohol RSO kind of extracts and whatnot. Sure. And she said, like, you know, a lot of, like, pretty much the, you know, all the DNA work and stuff, they use alcohol for all their extractions. And, like, it's just, you know, and it is, like, Everclear. It just comes in a different labeled bottle, I believe.
It's an effective solvent.
Yeah,
and it's, you know, your body can handle it. Your body can process it. So.
Which is funny because we all argue so much about, like, you know, marijuana is safer than alcohol, but they seem to need each other.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think balance is the key word there.
Granted, there's really no alcohol left by the time the process is done. So.
Right.
Have you guys heard about this new thing that kids are doing where they're taking dry ice and huffing alcohol vapor?
No.
No.
They're putting dry ice into a cup and then pouring like booze, beer, wine, whatever the fuck over it, and it creates this alcohol vapor, and they inhale it and they get fucking wasted.
Huh.
So what we could
not surprised.
Could we turn that into a stoner thing too? Because I like weird stoner project shit. I mean, did you guys ever make milkshakes as a kid, like, or when you were, I mean, younger, but where you take like a beer mug and you freeze it, and then like you roll a joint and you light it, and then you put the joint backwards in your mouth and you blow it into the frozen glass.
And the stoner.
The smoke stays in there, and you can like drink it like a milkshake.
No, I haven't tried
that's
this.
from way back. That's great.
Remember that? I swear I should do a fucking.
I have never ever seen that before.
We should do that.
Yes.
I did one recently. I swear to God, I made one for my wife. I was like, "Here, bitch, love me."
the power hitter and everything. Oh man.
Oh yeah, well, it's so like it was when I was a teenager. We had like you know, a nice pen that like we had used so we could, you know, more easily blow the joint, you know, without burning your mouth. But yeah, that shit's like, it's great. The whole you really put a huge hit in there because it sits in the cold glass. It doesn't escape.
So you use the pen as like a cigarette holder kind of thing? Is that
right. So you don't, because otherwise you're putting the joint backwards in your mouth and hotboxing it, and woo. Yeah, that is
retro stoner tricks. I love them.
That's the first time I've ever heard about that. I think that needs to be brought back. That I could see that as being like, okay, let's say we had our own version of you know, bars, but with with marijuana. That could be like a Jello shot, you know what I mean?
Right. Or that would be part of the entertainment. I think that would be entertainment kind of thing too. And speaking of the bars, we need to have those going in Clark County.
Yeah. I wanted to open one, Keith, over in Clark County, but once I saw how complicated the laws were going to be in Washington, I don't know, they just made everything so hard, you know. It can only be, you know, so many licenses for so many stores. We're only going to have, you know, 8 stores. And I just wanted a damn bar, you know, or like a food truck or something.
Yeah, it's an old boys club here in Clark County. I know I've kind of been watching it for a few years now, and but I think eventually they're going to get pushed over, and you know it's going to be nationwide anyway. So it's
I've always thought of Clark County as where young people go to die. I mean, I don't know.
Oh man, I have something funny to admit, and like I hope it doesn't get me in any trouble. But I filmed a short film this last, you know, a couple months ago. We've talked about it, blah blah blah. There's a torture scene in this film, and so I was location scouting. I was looking for like a sex dungeon, like basically somewhere where somebody like had already a setup for tying somebody up. And we found one in Clark County at Keith's house.
Oh, good. Oh yes.
It was really weird. It was out in this, it was basically you get off and you go by the Clark County Fairgrounds and just keep going. It's out there. But it's this very nondescript place, and like, it's like a good chunk of property or whatever. But they got this barn out in the back, and it's also nondescript. Like you wouldn't think anything like that. But it's got like a winch, like that can lift 5,000 pounds. It's all these different places to tie people and shit to beat the crap out of them with and stick in them.
I realize you live in Portland, Oregon. You didn't really have to drive to Clark County to find that.
It was through somebody or whatever, but it was funny because like they had a few stipulations. They were like okay, well, whoever's on your crew, we want them to sign a piece of paper saying that they will never come back here again, and also we do not want a credit in your film. We want to stay. We want this location to stay completely anonymous.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, which was weird because I was like live streaming our walkthrough, and I'm just kidding. But so they ended up flaking out on us, and we rented a warehouse instead and built a cross. So we crucified this woman. It was awesome. She loved it.
Well, on that note, we have to take a commercial break. So we'll be back with the last part of Hollywood Hemptress Hour. We'll be back.
Makes me want to spank it.
Oh.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
Let's go get some Hexane.
All right.
We should go get some Hex. That's the
So
alternative.
Sasha, can we just play that comedy just coming back in from this break?
Yeah, I forgot about it.
That's okay.
Hexane is that's a surgical anesthetic, isn't it?
What's that, Hexane?
Yeah. Is it anesthetic?
You know, I'm not too sure about an anesthetic. I know that's one of the things that they talk about. It's like a food grade butane, so it's like supposed to be a little bit safer. The funny thing is, it smells like kerosene. It's like you open it up.
You know what?
What's that?
Put some on a rag and put it over your mouth for a minute. See if it knocks you out.
Okay, I'll try that on Jason. And then I'll get a.
Once upon a time, I was a security guard at a hospital, and I got into their surgical area and found the stuff that the anesthetist drips into the thing to knock the patient out. And it seems like one of them was called Hexane, and it does smells terrible. But that's because the stuff that smells really good is easier to huff.
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't know, but I wondered how effective like something like ether would be as a.
Ether is fantastic. It's actually one of the best solvents to use.
Right, because
but it's so hard to come by, and it's so volatile. I mean, a lot of these stoners would just be passing out. You know, they would go try to make their extracts. They'd wake up, what happened?
Right. It's definitely wouldn't be for the low on the food chain guys.
Yeah, it's supposed to be one of the best things to pull and solvents to make an extract with.
I had wondered.
There's all kinds of stuff for the interactions of anesthetics with water hexane interface. So, it's very possible that there is some sort of like, you might have seen like hexane as part of a mixture, of something. But it's kind of not too dissimilar from Homegirl on Planet Terror, where she's like, these are my 3 friends, and pulls out 3 needles.
Just saying here says like hexane's used in the production of baby formula, alternative vegetarian foods, protein shakes.
It's used to treat plants and vegetables. And it's also used to extract oils from vegetables and plants.
So it's just a food grade. It's a food grade.
Yeah.
Equivalent to butane.
I'm into that. Where do we have to go to get it?
American Scientific. It's over by your it's over by like Gresham there.
Far out.
Yeah, and it's rather reasonable.
Closer than you, though, huh?
Fuck yeah.
You're closer to Beaverton than I am.
You're closer to Portland's Big Green.
I'm closer to the Pacific Ocean than you are.
Yeah, well, I'm closer to Mount Hood, and I like clitoral hoods more than I like big ocean vaginas.
You're closer to Hannaford than I am.
Your water's fluoridated.
Yeah, whatever. I know glands.
That's low.
Your pineal gland's calcified.
Yeah.
Right.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
My water's algae bloom.
I peed in your water.
That's not be the reservoir.
Right, babe?
Yeah, you don't have anything covering your water up. We're gonna pee in it every night.
Peed on me during our last makeout section, so why should anything be different? Why do people pee on each other? Why?
That is like a gross. I can't get into that.
Yeah, let's.
Why do people do that?
I don't know. It's weird.
Why do you keep asking Shane why people do that?
But seriously, and Shane, like when you do, is it like? Is it?
Okay, I'm gonna say I could go for that too.
Okay, Keith, you've been peed on. Whenever like.
No, I didn't say that.
But if somebody's eating asparagus, is that a
dog? Yeah.
Are you listening? No.
If somebody's eating asparagus, all the better.
Okay, so it's not like you're not like pissed. You're more like, somebody's been eating.
Well, to me, if it's, I would be like in the shower would be cool, and it's not really dirty unless it sits on you and it grows bacteria anyway.
I'm not saying I never pee in the shower.
I could be into it, I mean, I'm a little freaky.
Sound a little freaky. Freaky motherfucker.
Hey, this is Terry Joyce with Hollywood Hemptress Hour, and we're back for the last bit of the show. I don't know. I couldn't tell. Sasha, did you play the James Hennigan comedy? And he's typing intro into it. Oh, awesome! That was James Hennigan doing stand up there. He was our guest last week, but I just thought I'd play his comedy again because who knows, whenever you might download this and not have heard about James Hennigan. So if you like this guy that you just heard on this tape, then go back to the archive one before this. A week from today, and you can hear about James Hennigan and his interview here on Hollywood Hemptress Hour. So anyway, just backtrack, time jump a week from today, and you'll hear the whole thing with James Hennigan. But right now, we are with, right now in this moment, and this moment will be gone in the next few moments. So, but the moment that existed at this time that you're actually listening to, at the time that you're listening to it, we have Keith Belisle, Jason America, I'm Terry Joyce, Chris Matthews, and Shane Yoakum, and we are talking Well, I shouldn't talk about what we were talking about on the break. That's just not right. But that's you'll have to look at the Hollywood Hemptress Hour Ustream to find out what that was.
The evidence is out there.
The evidence is out there.
Everyone knows about Keith now.
What?
Everyone knows about Keith.
No.
It's time to come clean.
Maybe we just opened up like your
I can't wait.
your possibilities. Like we just introduced you to like
You know what?
another 1,000 men and women that might not have known that you're, the guy.
It may be the ultimate way to network. You never know.
Do you think the Ultimate Warrior ever networked?
Should have.
He was the ultimate networker.
The Ultimate Warrior networker. Seriously, he networked so hard it killed him.
I think he's selling yoga now. Or wait a minute, that's Diamond Dallas Page.
Man, I remember Icky Woods.
No.
He was the running back for Cincinnati Bengals. They had this little end zone dance, the Icky Shuffle, where they could
I remember that.
juke to the left and juke to the right and then spike it.
How about Harry Coleman?
Well, Icky Woods sells vacuum cleaners now door to door, but he takes a football with him and he does the Icky Shuffle for people. I'm not kidding.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it is.
It's even worse that you keep tabs on it.
Hey man, I gotta know what's up with Icky. Man, I've been doing this dance for like 25 years now.
Yeah.
What's happening with refrigerator Perry?
His refrigerator repairman. He runs refrigerator repair shop.
So you guys, we don't have much. I mean, I don't know who Icky Wood is, but I'm learning about him. But I mean, we don't have much time left tonight, and we've got maybe. Who is Icky Woods actually? Who is Icky Woods?
He had like 2 seasons in the NFL where he was the guy, and this was like in the 80s.
What sport?
Football.
Football.
Obviously, you're not a golfer.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. I know certain football players, but yeah, you can tell I'm totally out of it. I watch football every once in a while when I get invited to a football Super Bowl party. That's about it. I really love the halftime. All right, I know. Okay.
Halftime's the best. That's when you get baked.
Right.
I saw Macklemore at the halftime show of the 49ers Seahawks game, and it was the first time I'd ever sort of heard his song. But it was over the loudspeakers and stuff, and he was on the other side of the stadium, so I really couldn't hear it.
Did he lip sync?
I do not know. I really wasn't paying attention for shit. I did not give 2 shits about the Macklemore halftime show.
Mm-hmm.
I was too busy.
I got his autograph on your shirt.
Man, I was with Mr. T-Hawk. Oh, so let's talk about weed some more.
I know. Yeah. I mean, well, we've got about 6 minutes to talk about weed.
6 minutes. It's 1:49. Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's 1:49.
Yeah.
Love is the answer.
Shane,
Love
I
is
got
the
one
answer.
for you, man. Because we talked about this before on the show, and one of the things that I think is that the government is kind of holding back because they can't. If the people have the seeds, they can't control it.
Do you know what I was going to say early in the show is many, many years ago, I heard Mark Emery say it very clearly, overgrow the government.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that is his.
Overgrow the government. That's from 20 or more years ago I heard him say that.
So if we,
Yeah, and look at Mark now. Mark, we need to free Mark, really. Poor guy's still sitting in jail.
We used to go up to DC a lot back in '95. I met Mark a few times. He's a pretty nice guy. Yeah.
right.
It's sad. It's sad that he's sitting in jail still,
And of course, we're talking about international laws that are,
But I wonder if he's actually in jail in Washington State. Wouldn't it be ironic that if he's in jail in a state that legalized, I don't know. But the seed thing is really a whole different conversation. And even talking with our lawyers and stuff, I mean, it's the seeds really aren't included with anything that we're talking about. Like, as dispensaries, we could sell seeds and stuff like that, but for these seed companies that are out there, shipping them around the country, working on the black market, who knows where that's all going to go and how that's going to translate to a legal open market. It's really a really closed subject at the moment. And who knows what's really going to happen there? You have like Monsanto, you have all kinds of different like scenarios that could happen. Right. In cannabis, but really cannabis is it's an open source genome, and it belongs to the people. It's really how it should stay.
Corn too.
I think fennel is the other one that's out there that's an open source variety. So I think cannabis will stay that way. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. We all do. We all make our pro cannabis posts on our Facebook page, or whatever. But I have this one guy that is just odd. He's an odd little troll. But
I'm sorry.
He always pops up whenever like something is mentioned cannabis and makes these statements about like someday he's gonna genetically modify our weed, and like he hates it. He's all against it, and he wants to literally he's made paragraph speeches about how he wants to make something that pollinates them to ruin it for everybody.
So he's gonna drop hemp on everything, right? Is that?
Yeah. So the guy's just a fucking psycho asshole. But there's a lot of them out there, and he's really into politics. He's like, he's literally like a guy who thinks he's gonna run for office of something.
Well, he needs to get a better hobby,
Yeah.
Get stoned.
How do we protect ourselves, and how do we keep the seeds among the people?
That's a very good question.
That's a really good question, and I really don't have an answer for you. It's challenging. We have to make our own seeds. I mean, farmers have done that for many of years. But one thing when you look at if the regular Joe was to take his cannabis and start breeding it in his house, there are a lot of the things to consider about diluting the gene pool of cannabis. We've already destroyed the genetic gene pool of cannabis. It's so full of multi-poly hybrids and just so many variations of different strains. Like for example, you have people who do what's called selfing, where they'll take a female plant and then induce that female plant to drop male pollen, and they'll pollinate the same plant, and it's called selfing, and they're trying to make an identical representation of that plant. And the thing is, those seeds will never actually be identical representation of that plant. They could be up to like 80% of that plant, but they'll never be exactly that plant. But a lot of people out there are doing this thing where they make feminized seeds by using selfing, and they'll take, for example, like Trainwreck, the real true clone-only Trainwreck, and they'll self that, and they'll make female seeds of that. And then all these people crack those seeds, germinate them, and they grow out their representations of Trainwreck, and then they start passing them around as that Trainwreck. And really, it's not that Trainwreck. It's only a somewhat of a representation of that Trainwreck.
Right.
But, we have so much of that going on right now. And it's just, the genetic pool is just totally getting diluted. And it's really hard to find, like, the true landrace strains. There are only, like, 48, 49 of them out there. And those are strains that have existed in the world by themselves without human intervention. And even those strains, it's really hard to find those that are actually true, that haven't been, crossbred out to like Dutch strains or, other strains. But,
So get you go for president.
Yeah.
with that in mind, barring like the purity of strains and whatnot, do you think that you can do you find yourself to be sustainable? With your knowledge of breeding and seeds and whatnot, do you think that you have a sustainable way to keep yourself?
Absolutely.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, I've been making my own seeds for well over a decade, and I pass them out. I share my stuff, and I've always made my seeds so I have crops to grow in the future. I can't go rely on other people's strains, or you never know exactly what you're gonna get.
I mean, that's how we're gonna distinguish ourselves as a company too.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna try to match as much as our smokable pot to our seeds and our strains of
Our
our
clones,
clones.
yeah.
So, you know,
You guys,
that way, it's more of a Dutch model.
unfortunately, we are at the end of the show, and so and as you guys are saying that how you're gonna maximize and protect the seeds, and this is gonna be part of your specialty. Where can our listeners find you guys?
You can find us at www.cascadingcare.com. Currently, that's where you can find us.
Great.
We're still looking for an actual physical store, so we're probably in the county still.
Well, we'd love to have you when you guys open up. I'd love to have you back on again sometime.
Absolutely.
And let's let people know all about you, and thank you so much for being on the show and giving your knowledge and what was updating us, what was going on with Beaverton and all that kind of stuff. So thank you, and thank you, Jason America, for co-hosting with me and bringing these guys to the show. And thank you, Keith, for being here tonight and co-hosting with me. And it's been a good show, and thank you, Sasha, for doing the board op, and thank you for listening to the show. We will be back next week.
Thank you. Smoke up.
Smoke up.
Thank you.
Let's smoke.
That was a good show.
Oh my god.
Thank you
so much, Terry, for letting me be involved tonight.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad we because I know we wanted to do this show again, and so I'm glad we were able to make it happen too. So that was cool.
It was like honestly that everything that I want people to hear was said as far as you can be sustainable. Like you can do it. Like if the knowledge is shared, and we teach each other how to not just cannabis, but like this year I'm really looking to try and garden out my yard more, and I'm not good at it, and I really need Heather's mom, who's got a degree in botany, come over and show me how to grow some fucking tomatoes and this and that.
Yeah.
But if we can learn to be more sustainable on our own terms, our own properties and whatnot, it's going to be better for our health, our community, our livelihoods, everything.
I agree.
I think you'll see a lot more people actually starting to grow, even if they're not cannabis growers. I think gardens will become a commonplace in the kitchen, around the area in the kitchen, the homestead. And it's something that we're going to see in the next 10, 15 years. You'll see something that's really big right now is vertical gardening.
Yeah.
So, rather than, you have an open wide space with lights hovering over a floor, you use shelves, and each shelf has their light. And, you can just totally maximize your space and grow, mondo crops next to your kitchen doing that. So it's really going to become the new thing to do. I like to use that in my my cannabis strains.
Or like the plastic bottles hanging from ropes. Kind of thing.
Right. That's fantastic. The one thing I didn't get to that I really wanted to was actually plugging the fact that you guys want to consult and help people actually set up, maximize what's best for them in their house, their electricity, all that, and what they're trying to grow.
Yep. You need an electrician to come over, son.
Yeah.
We'll get your house rolling.
Absolutely.